Barcelona, a city of never-ending construction projects and emotional farewells. But there's something really interesting which the city possesses, which is rarely spoken about. No, not dodgy dealings with a certain club,
Naughty, naughty.
but a certain project over 150 years ago that went on to define not just Barcelona, but cities all over the world. So let's get into it. It's time to go back in time to the origins of Barcelona. Starting life as a Roman settlement centred around today's Gothic Quarter, it was surrounded by walls for military protection, which continued for much of the city's history. Whilst the walls provided protection for the city, it would prohibit pretty much any development outside of them. As you can expect, the city continued to grow throughout the centuries, and with Barcelona's narrow streets, which may look good for Instagram pictures today, created ever-increasing pressure on the city limits. Alongside poor ventilation and no more room to expand, this led the city to have double the population density of even Paris at the time. Residents had had enough, calling for the demolition of the walls.
Tear down this wall.
The final straw would come in 1854 after an outbreak of cholera, resulting in the government finally demolishing the walls and letting the city expand. But what was going to be built, and who by? Along comes a man called Ildefons Serda, who was both an urban designer and civil engineer, who looked to alleviate the issues that came about from the cramped conditions of the old quarter, creating efficient and livable space. With Serda unable to find any suitable works that had been done at the time to reference his design off, he would come up with his own, studying how existing people lived and how it could be improved. The plans would be called the Eixample, or the expansion in Catalan. Serda was a fan of straight lines and sought to create two main avenues split by roads crossing perpendicularly. In between would be quadrangular blocks of standard sizes. Strict building regulation would limit the height of the buildings, leaving a shady square or garden in between. The open space would allow for maximum light and ventilation to reach each of the houses, thus improving the quality of life for the residents. The new development would be divided into districts, each having 20 blocks, with a block being 133 metres wide and contain all local amenities within close proximity. The most notable design inclusion by Serda was a 45-degree angle corner on each of the blocks, which would allow for better movement of public transport, creating a better vision for drivers and ensuring vehicles could turn corners better. Forward-thinking stuff, considering street trams and cars were not even a thing. Despite all the design proposals from Serda, local councillors initially decided not to go with his plans, opting for architect Antonio Rivera's proposals, but an unexpected intervention from the Spanish government would impose Serda's designs on Barcelona. Construction on the district started in 1859, and by 1897, Serda's plans would be completed, with additions continuing into the early 20th century. As you can probably imagine, these design proposals for idyllic living would not totally stand the test of time when that great adversary of anyone trying to make things better gets involved.
Hello, I like money.
Well, unless you're Chelsea.
Not too sure that was a clever move.
Developers did not have any time for these bougie ideas, especially the height restrictions, which they thought were a pointless interference, with blocks going up much higher than anticipated, and were completely enclosed, with very few inner courtyards still in existence today. Despite expectation being a little far from reality, the project would make its mark on history, being one of the first ever models of ideal urban planning, with Serda taking the title as the father of urbanisation, which has gone on to not only inspire future urban developments, but a certain football kit for a local team in 2019, leaving its mark on history too.